Chicken dinner heading into the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. And, well, it might not be our last show before the college football championship game coming up on Monday, but it might be the last time you hear us before that game gets rolling. Joe Sammy P with you. Things are going well here. The growth of the show, we're excited about it. If you follow us on X, Sam's been tweeting about it at chickenxdinner. I'm at Joe Ostrowski. He's at SP Shoot. What's up, Sam?
YouTube has already invited us to be a partner. Do you believe that? It took a month.
What does that mean?
It means that we can start making money on this thing. We have officially been invited. Chicken Dinner. You can now apply to the YouTube Partner Program. It took 1 month.
Well, make sure you're subscribed because we're going to keep pumping out more and more content. What do you know? We realized, hey, the more content we do, the more traction this show is getting. Same thing via the podcast. Like the numbers are through the roof there. We talked about it a little bit, but I think it's really cool. Like on these podcast episodes, we're getting immediate feedback. Oh, I think the show name with Horvey should be this. Can you guys do that? People have asked, do we have an email? No, we have 80 ways to get in contact with us. We haven't set up a show email yet, but a lot of different ideas. And I'm glad that people are checking in about things that come across their minds as they're listening. They're like, what about those cool guests that you guys used to have on Betsperts? All that's in the hopper, and we'll have, who's that?
I don't even know who that is.
We'll have one of those guests today. Our buddy Andy Molitor is going to drop by in about 5 minutes. We'll get his best bets for the divisional card this weekend.
I can't wait to watch that back on video and see who that was. I have no idea.
There's no way Jeff would have.
No, Jeff wouldn't be here. So basically, we're on the top floor of a studio in New York. They tape First Things First downstairs. Mm-hmm. So during the day, these are offices for a lot of the people. And I was always able to get in by 9, be out by 12, and then from 12 until 6, it's occupied by the whole staff. Well, it's 6:15. There's a little sneak peek inside what we're doing here. Wednesday night, 6:15. So this is supposed to be open. It's fine. I saw last night that the Buffalo Bills had two wide receivers tear their ACLs. So they only have 3 active receivers on the roster: Shakir, Coleman, and Brandon Cooks. Now you have all the tight ends. You have James Cook. The Bills' anxiety that I had on Sunday, I think everybody else has all week long.
I got to tell you something. I don't even have a ticket like you do. Like you have 86 tickets on this. I don't have any. Today, I started getting nervous for you.
Oh, man.
I did. And I'm not saying I'm sitting here and I'm believing that the Broncos are going to win. It is amazing. Off the bye, divisional round, you've got one of the best home fields. I mean, that's been proven over the years, and they might be a dog in this spot. And that's where I think a lot of people would come in and take Denver. Now, I don't think it's a big deal. I mean, you're basically still going to be, no matter what the number is, most likely you're going to be picking the winner of this game. But yeah, I'm a little concerned. I'm not taking Denver. I'm not doing that, but it's another game. It's the second one of probably a number of them where you're in this pick'em spot. You need it to come up heads. Is it going to come up tails? Don't know. You'll need everything to go your way. And the injuries too, man. It's always with this team. You got Poyer too as well, right?
The kicker's hurt. Prater's hurt. They're all hurt.
Yeah, he's been hurt a while. Yeah.
At the end of the day, though, if you would have told me in August that I would have Josh Allen against Bo Nix and either CJ Stroud or Drake May, I would have said, sign me up. And, the messages have been good. We've had a lot of nice interactions on the internet with the Bills and all that. But everybody's got action now. And everybody wants action because it's the playoffs. And a lot of people that don't gamble in August, September, October, November, December are gambling because it's the NFL playoffs and people want action. And it's fun to see what people have. I told the story last year on Betsperts about Eddie O and I both finding out that we needed the Eagles to make a run. So I texted him today because the Kraken are in Boston tomorrow. And Eddie and I, if he's in town and I'm in town, we try and meet up. I said, when are you leaving? And he said, we're in and out. We're doing the game and we're out. So after he announced that, or texted me, that wasn't really an announcement, he goes, I love the Bears-Rams over.
Yeah, don't they all? And the line keeps dropping, the number.
I know, and I told Eddie, and he said, yeah, I'm going to wait because people are seeing the wind and the feels like 2 in the forecast, and they're betting under. Gusts of about 20. So we'll see about all that, 20 miles an hour. But this opened 51.5, and now it's 48.5. And we'll talk about the game later on, obviously. But how low does it go? And if it ever were to get to 47, you would envision there being some support on the over in that game. And then Eddie tells me this. I'm not going to give the prices out because that's not anybody's business. But he's got Super Bowl matchup bets on the Rams-Bills and the Rams-Texans. That's where Eddie O is at.
So this came across my brain as well today. I was just sitting around the house thinking about what we're going to talk about tonight. Obviously, we know what we're going to talk about. And it's something we haven't addressed in a number of weeks. But those that listen to the old show are quite familiar. There's a very, very good chance that both Seattle and Houston are playing in the Final Four next weekend. And we famously took time on the air, on the show. I forgot what week it was when we said Seattle, because you wrote down a team name. What team am I thinking of? It's a long shot Super Bowl bet. And without seeing the Post-it, I said Seattle, and then you showed it to the camera. It was 30-1, right, at the time?
To go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Oh, geez. And then there was another week when we were talking about Super Bowls, and I threw out a couple long shots in there, and things were not looking good at the time. I threw out the idea of Houston when they were 50. Did we bet either of them?
No.
We said we like Seattle, we like Houston, and both of them might be in the Final Four next weekend, Sammy.
There's also a listener named Chris who was very kind. He sent me a nice DM, loves the show. He's made the transition over to Chicken Dinner, follows us on YouTube. He, on his own, made a couple bets on Indiana at 125-1 to win the whole thing. And then guess what else he did, Joe? He listened to you and I gush about Carson Beck and Miami's O-line, D-line, revamped roster. He then bet some Miami at 30-1. So Chris, going into the national championship, has Indiana at 125-1, Miami at 30-1. And here's the best part. He said to me over DM, as much as I used to want to still fire and gamble, I like the money that I've made for myself, and he is going to relax a rocking chair championship game.
Very nice. We will break down all of the divisional round matchups later on in the show in just a moment. Our buddy Andy Molitor is going to drop by, but we want to tell you what our friends over at Splash Sports have going on right now. Now, if you do hear this before Thursday at noon Eastern, you'll still have an opportunity to enter a massive one-and-done contest. It's the RickRunGood and Splash $1.25 million one-and-done World Championship. And they give out winners for the whole season. And then they also give out cash prizes for different segments. Like, okay, these 8-9 weeks. How about these 8-9 weeks? Here's 1st through 20 or whatever it is. But overall, they're going to be giving out $1.25 million. Check it out. A massive overlay right now. Earlier when I checked today, there were thousands of open spots. So make sure you check that out over at splashsports.com. More importantly, go to splashsports.com and you will see quick picks. Basically, it's props for the games this weekend. And if you use the promo code DINNER, new users get a $50 deposit match and a 100% profit boost with their first quick pick slip. So don't get confused by it, more or less. Over, under, same thing, picking out some of your favorite props of the weekend. Joe O, Sammy P, this is Chicken Dinner. And we bring in our buddy Andy Molitor, a regular on the old show. Andy, how you feeling right now? A number of days out. I know you recorded your stuff earlier in the week. How you feeling heading into the 4 games this weekend?
Fun. They're going to be fun. I don't know if there's like super actionable angles in the sides and totals for me yet. It's still very much ruminating. I did basically like, God, what do you want to call it? 18-hour trips to Vegas 2 weekends in a row. And doing that has just ruined my brain. So like it feels like every day is Monday around here for me right now. But no, it's been fun talking out with Drew. We're gonna do our big show tomorrow. Normally during this season we wouldn't push it back that late because you have Thursday night football. But with no TNF, we'd like to push it back and have as much injury news as possible, especially with some of them being quite meaningful for a couple of these teams. So I'm pumped to watch these games. I got to find some props. Last week we talked about and I bet a little bit of props, but man, we were kind of just nailing the receivers for a while. So now I'm going to just go all in on that and lose some money this weekend, I suppose.
You mentioned injuries. Who are the guys, maybe 2 or 3 guys that are most important to you? When you see that they're either in or out, you will pounce.
Is Nico Collins just out? Are we just assuming? I've kind of got a line through him. It's just one of those things where I think, depending on what you want to do with that game, as far as if you want to bet on, Houston, you kind of just have to wait for them to announce, like, hey, he didn't practice on Thursday. This guy is not feeling good. His brain's got rattled pretty hard. And then the line's going to move and you can get a better Houston number. And it was always going to be without him anyway. So, keeping an eye on kind of some of the timing of guys like that. There's a bunch of names on the Bills defense. I'm not sure. I know you're a Bills guy, but man, I thought for sure just with some of the injuries they had and how many there were, it was just going to be a hot knife through butter last week. And I think maybe with a different offensive coordinator, it would have been, I don't know, or a different quarterback, a different set of kind of circumstances down near the goal line. I kind of had the same feeling for Philadelphia and Jacksonville. It's like, hey, you're playing bad defenses. You should be able to do this. And neither of those teams got through. So kind of keeping an eye on Bills' defensive injuries as well here.
Yep, Andy Molitor with us, one half of the Deep Dive podcast, director of content for Betsperts. Andy, I know it's kind of bouncing around the zero, but what do you make of what's happening or what has happened thus far between Buffalo and Denver? A lot of spots opened around to pick them. Then you saw a little bit of momentum towards the Bills, and then they're a slight road favorite. The Vegas books weren't coming off the pick 'em. And then you finally see a little more momentum, obviously, with those injuries that you addressed there, towards Denver, as high as 1.5 right now. So what do you make of that movement and the total?
Yeah, the push-pull on this one is kind of hey, this is a team off the bye. Like, this team is rested. They're ready. They have an elite defense. They're going up against a team that, I don't know, it feels like there's plenty of teams where I could name wide receiver 3. The Bills kind of aren't one of them right now. They haven't had a good wide receiving core for the better part of, I don't know, Allen's career. So it's one of those where they're pulling that way. But on the other hand, Bo Nix might suck. And that's going to kind of push it back the other way. And I think there's plenty of people that saw last week where, hey, the market was cold on Buffalo. The market drifted away from Buffalo across the zero, and they were still able to get it done because they have Superman there at quarterback. And despite having got just a laundry list of injuries just for him alone, like I think he has 3 things listed for his injury report. He's still going to play. He's still going to be fine, and he's still very dangerous. So I think it kind of comes down to how you feel about Bo Nix. We've seen second half of the season, there were fewer games where it's like, oh, he's a detriment to this team, and they're winning anyway. So if you can get behind that kid, I think you could lay points here at home.
Fuck Bo Nix. That's what I'm going to say. I don't want to hear this.
I know how some people feel about this.
Stop. I get Josh Allen. You can have Bo Nix. Here's the one thing I'll say. For me, if Ed Oliver can play, that's huge for the Bills. That's my number one guy. But as you know, I just said fuck Bo Nix, so you know how I feel about it. You're a numbers guy. You quantify everything, or at least try to. How do you quantify a team with a first-year head coach, a second-year quarterback, being down in 7 games with 2 minutes to go and winning all 7 of them? How do you quantify that?
I know I said it to Drew this morning. I said, it's like, no disrespect, because we love this team. They're the worst team left in the playoffs, right? And he pushed back a little, saying like, hey, how do we feel about the 49ers as well? Yeah, the 49ers, especially after the Kittle injury. Like, that's a huge blow to a team that's had, I don't know, what's that injury, massive injury number 5 to go along with 10 smaller ones during the season. But yeah, I don't know. We sat there, watched that game, and the way we watched Green Bay move the ball, we're like, this is over. Like, we bet Green Bay second half. Ask me how that ticket went. I don't think you can lose a ticket. You can't lose a ticket by more points than that, I don't think.
When they kicked the field goal, they went from 21-6. They kicked the field goal to make it 21-9. And at that point, I'm like, it's over. It's over.
I don't. Some teams are just blessed late. They have never give up. And outside of what they did, gosh, what was the game about 3 weeks ago where Ben Johnson mismanaged the clock? They only had 1 shot at the end zone there late in the game. That one kind of drove me. Yeah, the Niners one. Outside of that, he's been really good with time management, getting the defense to give him an extra chance. It's not a good defense either. I don't know. That's the most baffling part. Like, Caleb overperforming a little, fine. He's got the weapons. He's got the arm. He's got the tools to do it. Last year, he got sacked 95 times, so that was part of the problem. But the defense sucks. And in some of these wins, they're getting the other team off the field. It's like, how is this happening? Because, we've had all the interceptions and the turnover luck, and that's one thing. But it's like, I guess Green Bay just used up all their good plays, and they're just going to keep giving them the ball back and hope for the best. Oh, man, you should. We were at Circa. The Bears fan, I thought these Bears fans were leaving. They got up at right before halftime. Fuck Green Bay, and they were so mad. I thought you should see the sad faces, and then those people are doing freaking break dancing an hour and a half later. It was nuts.
I mean, shame on those guys.
I can't.
That's what the Bears have been. That's what the Bears have been all year. They set a record, the number of 2-minute comebacks in the final end, and look how every Bears-Packers game has ended. Like, we saw that exact script up in Lambeau earlier in the year, and then it happened again this time at Soldier Field. It's been wild. You're right. They can't stop anybody. So I get weather and all that, dude. The weather sucks. Like, I woke up today, drove my daughter to school. It usually it's 3-4 minutes from my house to go there and come back. It took me 25 minutes today. Like, the snow, driveway's a sheet of ice. I think it's going to be very similar to that. Why is this total dropping so much? I think we've learned, though, especially look at the conditions the Bears were playing this past weekend. Unless it's wind really kicking up off the lake, I still don't see how this is under 50.
Yeah, and honestly, that was one of the plays I made. Was I liked the over. I wasn't super sure about the home team there. I played some Green Bay team total over, which it got there. I was pissy about how much juice I had to lay, and then it barely got there. But I want to bet on the Packers, I guess. So pat me on the back a little for that. But it was the same thing. It's like, it's going to be super windy, but this has probably dropped enough. And then it started to steam back the other way a little. I think some of this understeam may also be the Stafford hand injury, which, oh man, that's one thing I didn't love about the sports book. I watch a lot of football games with the sound off. That wasn't an option for that game. They brought up his hand every time he threw the ball. It's like, we remember, we get it. We saw it. It happened. We understand he's not playing as well right now. But that Stafford, I mean, he's on the injury report for that hand. And if that's banged up and it's not feeling good and it's 4 degrees below zero with wind chill, he's an indoor quarterback and he's old. Dude, you guys know, it sucks going outside when it's cold, and it sucks worse when you get older.
Yes.
And his
Dude,
knees are going to be creaking and stuff. Honestly, I don't know if I can touch that game, because I like the Rams. I think they're in a huge advantage offensively against, again, a bad defense, unless they miraculously just keep picking balls off. But what am I going to do? Bet on him outdoors, and might end up feeling really foolish. We've seen a couple Stafford games where late in the season he threw a few picks.
You can do the Allen Stafford moneyline parlay though, and that's probably going to put you in a good spot. Buffalo to win, Rams to win.
I only have one bet for the weekend now so far, and I said I want the Seattle teaser. I said, but who am I going to tease it with? Like, I don't really love a 6-point teaser either side in Bills Denver.
No.
I didn't love it. And somebody suddenly 3 people in the chat are Hoosiers. I'm like, oh yeah. So I have a Seattle Indiana teaser.
Okay.
I like the Hoosiers. It's probably maybe not my most informed bet, as I've watched one Miami football game all year, but I'm just Team Mendoza, man. That's a lot of fun. That was fun to watch them in the other day.
So why can you see a blowout in the Buffalo Denver game?
Not a blowout, but it's just a spot where you're just outside the teaser. You're only getting 6 points, and you end up at 7.5 for a teaser leg there for Buffalo. I can see we've seen that before, where it's earlier in the season we had a couple games like that where it's man, Josh Allen has no help, and suddenly you're at a bad game state, kind of similar to what we saw on Monday night. And I hate to put Josh Allen currently in a comparison with a 45-year-old man out there playing football, but that was kind of the halftime thought process was if Houston does get up by multiple scores, Rodgers is dead. He's just a dead person back there because they can just let those guys eat. It's the same kind of thing for Denver. If Denver is able to get up by multiple scores, you got a really, really good quarterback with really shitty receivers, and he's going to be at the mercy of, hey, we're bringing it every down because we know you guys are going to have to pass. And then it's going to come down to him running the ball. How good is that foot? I could see Buffalo losing by margin here. I could see either team losing by margin because you also have what if Bo Nix just doesn't show up? Haven't seen him in a lot of playoff games.
Houston, as we know, is going to win with their defense if they are to continue this. And one of our friends, Ryan Horvath, has been talking about getting some Will Anderson MVP stock in the Super Bowl right now, and obviously a big number there. How do you handicap Houston, New England, after New England had no resistance defensively? I mean, their defense did whatever they wanted against that Charger O-line. Not that Houston's is much better, but at least they're healthy, right?
They gelled a little. They were my 32nd out of 32 offensive lines ranked coming into the season. And they still stink. They're not good, but they've gotten better. They're not the abject disaster that I thought they would be. The offense has found ways around it. Yeah, that total might just be – that still might be too high. You might end up with another situation like that where, hey, you've got a good quarterback, you've got some weapons, but the pass rush is just going to disrupt things enough where we're not going to see a lot of points against them. And at the same time, it should be a much harder challenge for Drake May, obviously, going up against a defense that really ate. I don't think we're going to see multiple defensive scores again. That was fun for our bets. Me and Drew both had Houston, and we had Houston second half. It wasn't looking good for the offense getting in the end zone all that often, and I wouldn't mind more of that if I was on Houston. Haven't really thought that one through, but Drew did grab that 3 before it got away. He's back to his northeastern roots, I guess. That's the story he always tells. He thought he was so good at betting because when he got into betting, he cheered for the Patriots. He went to Duke.
Winner.
He's like, I would just bet on the Patriots and Duke, and they'd always win.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so you mentioned that you guys discussed in the deep dive that San Francisco's probably the worst of these 8, and that makes sense. They're a massive dog in the spot. They were a pretty sizable underdog last week, and nobody seemed to be on them, and then they went out right on the road. Besides them, if we take them out of it, is there any other team of the 8 that you just don't see making the Super Bowl? You don't see them winning 2 more?
And it's still probably just Denver for me, even though it's crazy to say that about a 1 seed, right? That's terrible, but it's a pretty tough path, and you just don't see teams do it like that without the commensurate quarterback play. It's not the 1980s where we're just or I don't know when was the bad quarterbacks? When were the bad quarterbacks getting through? Like the Brad Johnson year where you just had a sick Tampa Bay defense or some of those. It's just not quite a thing anymore. You have to have something going for you offensively.
Trent Dilfer.
Trent Dilfer. Yeah.
Peyton Manning.
Honestly, that Peyton Manning year, that guy was
broken,
busted. He was not good. He was not good that season. It's just so much harder. It's the degree of difficulty getting that far just predicated on defense is so much harder now with just how the league plays ball. And I don't know that I can do it with Bo Nix and having them win 2 games, despite having home field advantage, playing in a place where you have the altitude advantage, where you have a good crowd, you have a good home field, and it's still hard for me to look at them and take them super seriously in the AFC or to win it all, honestly, against any of the NFC contenders.
Joe, if you didn't have anything else football, I was going to ask a golf strategy question, but if there's anything football, by all means.
Nope, go ahead with golf. Yeah, with that contest we were talking about, it, my mind was starting to drift to golf too.
Yeah, I just wonder, Andy, for people that aren't focused on golf right now, it will start before we know it. I believe it's like you start getting into the bigger tournaments and the bigger players all start coming back relatively soon. So, like for somebody that isn't focused yet, what would be the first order of business or two that you would have somebody who's a rec golf bettor that wants to be better? What would you have them focus on?
I would just subscribe to Betsperts Golf. I mean, that's you want me to just chill for a
you and Noonan,
of course.
You and Noonan killing it over there.
Yeah, no, I mean it is good if you're a data guy. That's a good site. But truthfully, if you want to just rec bet golf, truthfully, if you did start working on data and you wanted to rec bet golf, it's a lot more boring. But it's the same as anything. It's easier than outrights, matchups. They have, and if you're not familiar, it's just golfer A versus golfer B, who finishes with the lower score over the course of 4 days. One of them the best part is one of them misses the cut, and your guy makes it through. You cash on Friday even. Love cashing a matchup on Friday. Like, truthfully, it's way more boring. And I know that's the wrong answer because outrights are so much more fun. I bet outrights every week. But matchups and props are probably a better way to make money if you wanted to dip your toes in the thing. Golf starts in like 12 hours, guys. Maybe not that. A little deeper. It's in Hawaii, so honestly, it probably starts in like 18. But yeah, Sony Open Thursday, baby, tomorrow.
Give us a little matchup strategy. Do you prefer full tournament or do you go day by day? Do you feel like you have a bit of an edge either way? And as far as juice, like what's the highest? Like sometimes these top guys, you'll see it like $2. Do you just stay away from that? Do you look for similar prices? What do you think there?
A lot of them, especially if you're shopping around, again, shop around on these because they're all over the place. But a lot of those heavier favorites will offer a -1.5. Then you're laying 2 strokes. There's no push. Winning by 1 is still loss. So I do play some of those, especially if the pricing is right. It's really hard to determine what a stroke's worth, and it's not the same for every tournament. In some of these tournaments where the winner's going to be 30 under compared to playing the U.S. Open where the winner might be even, obviously 2 strokes is not the same kind of math. You need to account for that a little bit. No, I mean, I'll play heavy prices if my price is, if I say it should be $3 and it's -200, you still got to think about it. And I do play both full tournament matchups and day-by-day stuff, but I think the full tournament stuff is obviously better. It just gives you a bigger sample. Mm-hmm. It's harder to get sniped by some guy just having a real hot afternoon. It takes some of the weather out of the equation, although, that's another thing for matchups. We have wind. It's going to be windy as heck because Hawaii, a lot of it is near the water. And that's just kind of how that state works. And tomorrow morning in Hawaii, it's not going to be terribly windy. In the afternoon, it is. And then Friday, they flip. So the guys who played in the morning will play in the afternoon. Guys who played in the afternoon play in the morning. But all day Friday looks awful as far as wind. So the guys who played in the morning on round 1, they'll have a slight advantage, hopefully. And that's the sort of stuff that can, it is going to drive markets, but if you're playing first round leaders, if you're playing some of those matchups too, you can get a little bit of an advantage. And like you said, it evens out a little bit, but at the same time, like I said, if the guy misses the cut because he's on the wrong wave advantage or a disadvantage, you just cash her on Friday then.
All right, Andy Molitor at Andy MSFW over on X. He's of the Deep Dive podcast. Make sure you check it out. They are also on YouTube, so subscribe over there. Also check it out via podcast. Are you guys doing halftimes for all the games this weekend?
I think just the night ones, man. I have a nasty stretch of children's sports coming up 4 days in a row. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday sports.
What sport?
Wrestling, volleyball.
Oh, volleyball starts in a week for us.
Yeah. Volleyball all day Sunday. I mean, I'll be the guy with the tablet watching the early game Sunday at the volleyball tournament, but we'll do the night games. Halftimes from the night games.
You live at the middle school gym.
Yeah,
Andy Molitor.
Live under the bleachers on a tablet here.
I would love it at wrestling. Like I could see you being one of those crazy screaming wrestling coaches. No,
I'm pretty loud as a parent.
Are you? Oh, you are.
Yeah,
You're one of those.
I have a voice. I have a voice that carries.
One extreme or the other. It's like, are you the yeller or are you just trying to be silent? Do you watch baseball from the outfield? It's usually one or the other. Oh
no. When my kid was in softball, I sat right behind home plate.
Yeah.
I started yelling ump once, realized like, oh, this is probably like a 10th grader. Maybe I shouldn't yell at her.
Her. Even better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
What do you want? What do you see there, Blue? Come on.
Better call it equal for both sides. We better get that straight.
Keep it fair. Keep it fair.
Yep. All right, Andy Molitor. Andy, best of luck this weekend. We'll be checking out the content that you guys will be putting out there. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Good luck.
Yep.
See ya.
Andy Molitor, Deep Dive Podcast. Make sure you check him out. Good stuff there. Sam, I was surprised that he thinks like that Buffalo-Denver game could get outside of that teaser zone, because that we were talking about it, that feels like a pretty good number, especially involving that Denver defense. If you're getting more than 7 on either side, that feels like a good bet.
Yeah, I feel the same way I felt about Buffalo-Jacksonville. Whoever was the dog, tease it up.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily for a lot of people, Buffalo closed the dog because the wise guys did bet Jacksonville, despite what people on Twitter think. I put up that tweet the other night after the Steelers got shoved, and we had John Murray from the Westgate saying that his sharpest players were on the Steelers. And then people on Twitter are telling me the Steelers aren't sharp. You don't know shit. Like, okay, all right. But the Sharps did bet Jacksonville through, and they actually at one book closed -2.5. So if you waited, you were able to take Buffalo 2.5 to 8.5. I feel the same way, though, I felt about that game. Whoever's the dog, assuming it's 1.5 or higher, go through 3, go through 7, maybe go through 8.
I was tracking the same thing on Sunday and put that out there. I like the people that said, well, but the Rams won, Joe. Oh,
yeah. How's it sharp if it lost?
But yes. More like dull. Oh, haven't heard that one. But
ooh.
Yeah. The line was 10.5 on the Rams. So yes, they won the game, but they did not cover the point spread. It's an interesting place. Everybody's got a thought on everything. At betchickendinner over on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed. Give us a thumbs up on this video, all the videos. If you want to chime in on some of the topics that we are discussing, make sure you put your thought in there. Get in the comments. We like to reply with you guys. Just kind of gauge where people are at. The other day when we were talking about Super Bowl MVPs, in addition to Horvey yesterday, we talked through that. There were a number of people that were like, yeah, Will Anderson, 100-1, 100-1. Horvey threw out your guy, Witherspoon, on the Seahawks. So I look up the number. I'm like, did you know this is 750-1? What this is the anniversary of what GRP put out there a year ago that people are still laughing about, right?
You didn't see who he took, I take it, for this year.
No, I did not.
So last year it was Penei Sewell.
750, something like that.
This year he decided to enter the market with Texans kicker Kaimi Fairburn. Like, so that's where we're at.
What's the number?
I think it's 2,000-1.
Just give it to me, George. Give me the money. I will take your action. Let's go.
A kicker, by the way, has never won.
Never won.
And the game where the Patriots and Rams played to what? A 13-3 final. The kicker didn't win it that year. So I always laugh, and it's not just GRP, because people bet this when we get to Vegas. I used to do that party in Vegas every Super Bowl. And there'd be somebody in my group of 20 or 30 people that would come back with a slip on one of the kickers. Yep. And I would always ask, what is the script? Is it a 9-6 final? I mean, because if it's 9-6, that's probably not enough given how well the defense has played. You probably had somebody with 2 or 3 sacks, a strip fumble or whatever. You'd probably need a kicker to be on the winning team, make the winning field goal, but also have 15 points, and all 5 of those were field goals. Like what?
And a game-winning kick. And a game-winning kick.
Yeah, probably at the horn, like Vinatieri style.
60 yards, too.
The things that would have to happen for a kicker to win the MVP are probably not worth betting, even at 2,000-1 for MVP of the Super Bowl.
You know what bet is worse?
No.
An offensive tackle.
That's never happened either.
Well, that's never, ever going to happen.
No.
They would have to have multiple touchdowns in the game, right? Maybe a Fridge Perry situation. Not one, but let's get a couple.
Yeah, but that would never happen with an offensive lineman. They would never give an offensive lineman the responsibility of handling the ball and running across. That I don't get it. You want to do the divisional games?
Yeah, let's do it. You want to go in chronological order? Sounds good.
Let's start at the top of odds logic with Seattle, San Francisco. The 7s are more popular than the 7.5s right now, at least in the market. Now, Pinnacle's got 7.5. Bet Online has 7.5. Jazz 7.5. But a lot of those hooks have disappeared. We are at Seattle -7. The total has not really budged that much, about 45 consensus.
Yeah, third time we're seeing this game. The second time in a short period of time. Remember, everything was on the line. At least the 1 seed was on the line in Week 18. And the Niners offense couldn't do much in that game. They did. I don't even think they got 200 yards in that game. Seattle should have scored a lot more than 13. They outgained them by almost 200 yards, but in the red zone, they were 0 for 3. Massive rest advantage for Seattle. Coming off the bye, and then the Niners played on Sunday against Philly, and now they've got to play on Saturday at Seattle, a team they've seen a number of times. Now, did Seattle spend any time getting ready for the Philly side? Maybe, but I would guess not. A lot of people have brought up Darnold, and you said there are more 7s now. Okay, that's interesting. It's come down a little bit. That's where we opened at 7, went to 7.5, and now we're kind of in between. The idea of Darnold laying a massive number in a big spot, and it is certainly fair to bring that up. I was surprised to see that when Darnold is favored by 6 or more, he hasn't lost. Because you would think that happened at least once with him. He's 13-0 straight up and has an outstanding record ATS, 10-3 ATS when favored by 6 or more. So I find that kind of interesting. Another massive injury. Now add Kittle to the list. The defense stinks. And the defense on the Seattle side is phenomenal, as good as any. I mean, we've got 3 top-notch defenses going this week, and Seattle is one of them. Now, last week, San Francisco pulling off the upset on the road. Like, when you look at that weak defense that they do have, I guess it shouldn't have been the most shocking thing in the world, even though it was at the time, because everybody was saying Eagles. But they were going against a very weak offense. They've been weak this year, and they end up firing the OC, as they should have, earlier this week. They're not going against a weak offense this time around. Now, it's not elite. It's not Rams. It's not Bills, but there's still a top 10 offense in the league.
This will be a popular play, I have a feeling, when we get closer to the weekend and limits go up and wise guys start moving, because a lot of wise guys haven't made a ton of bets yet. You just heard one of them on our show, Andy Molitor, say he's only got one bet, and he said Seattle, Indiana in a teaser. You're going to hear more of that as we get closer. This is a Saturday night game, 8 o'clock Eastern, whether it's 7-1 or 7.5 to 1.5. Seattle in a 6-point teaser will be popular with the sharp community. Again, doesn't mean it's going to win. As we chronicled one of our last shows together, sharp guys were on Oregon, got pounded. Sharp guys were on the Steelers. Sharp guys were on the Jags. Sharp guys laid the Eagles from 3.5 to 6. All those sides lost. Now, that's not going to happen every weekend, but this has also historically been the time of the year where you get people come out of the woodwork and just bet the better quarterback. And if you're on that side of the fence, you want the better quarterback and the better coach, you're probably going to take San Francisco +7. I think it's very easy this week. If you want the better coach and quarterback, you're taking San Francisco, Buffalo, New England, Los Angeles. That's probably the way it breaks down, right? Of the four?
Yeah. With McDermott, I do question that a little bit, but
well,
Josh
you get
Allen is so much better than
I think they're
any other
betting more
quarterback.
quarterbacks than coaches. But I guess it's more of a fair fight, Allen and McDermott against Peyton and Nix. But I would think Allen would hold it down a little bit lower to the ground.
Yep, for sure. Do you think the dog in Buffalo, Denver, and Seattle will be the popular teaser?
Could be, for sure. And I don't think Buffalo is going to go off the favorite. It's possible. Again, just a guess, seeing where we're at now. You're at 1.5 at Circa. You're 1 at Pinnacle, 1 at Chris. Denver, of course, at home, off the bye, well-rested. But what about rust? They haven't played in a while. Mm-hmm. And on the college football side of things, we have seen 8 teams with byes in the last 2 playoffs, and the teams with byes are 1-7. So, I think people's thought process on byes is not the same it used to be. Now, college and the NFL, of course, are much, much different, but I don't think there's going to be this super sharp appetite on Buffalo. It's funny when I say that, though, because guess who else there wasn't a super sharp vibe on? Tom Brady and the Bucs when they went to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Every week, the wise guys were betting against him. And, Brady did it again. He's not going to do it again. He's not going to do it again. He's not going to do it again. Lombardi, eyeball. So there are a lot of similarities between that Buffalo team and that Tampa team. I'm not comparing Allen and Brady, but you have a superstar quarterback who has to take over and a team that has to win every game on the road. 1, 2, 3 games on the road to get to the Super Bowl. I just feel like Denver is such a metrically sexy team that numbers guys are not going to allow them to close the dog. That's my projection.
Sure. I do want to wrap quickly San Francisco, Seattle before marching on, because I did have a side in this game.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't really get here until now, until I see that the 7s are available. And I look at this defense, and it wasn't a position where the Eagles were going to explode offensively. We saw how toxic it was, A.J. Brown and all that. And Saquon had a terrific game. He did his part. It was just the rest of the team did not do theirs. It's a defense that is dead last success rate. They have the lowest sack rate in the NFL. They have the second lowest interception rate, so they're not turning the ball over either, and they give up a very high rate of completion percentage from quarterbacks. They're bottom 5 there. I think this is Darnold's moment. I don't know that people are going to say, okay, I take back what I said about him in the past, because the past did happen. I think Seattle's going to cover that number at 7. And I want to act now before it goes back to 7.5. There are a fair number of juice 7s out there. But you're right about the teaser, money line, and all that involving Seattle. I don't like a lot of sides this weekend. Seattle -7, that's one that I do like.
Okay. As for Buffalo, Denver, I don't have much to add here. There's no need to wax poetic about my affinity for this quarterback and this team. I already gave my spiel on where I think this closes. I do think Denver's going to be a very small favorite. Maybe Denver -1. You got a lot of the rec books on Denver, which not going to lie, I do like to see. I like to see BetMGM and DraftKings and FanDuel at 1.5, and then BetOnline and Pinnacle and Chris at 1. That makes me feel a little bit happy inside to see the rec books kind of get more expensive. But I will not be getting off my position. Not happening. Got some more texts and DMs this week. What are we doing? Are we hedging yet? No, we're not. We're not hedging against Bo Nix. It will not happen on my end.
Why are you hedging in the divisional round? Why is that even a thought?
I had people want to hedge against Jacksonville.
You're just stupid. What? You didn't get a 50-1. You got some nice numbers. There's some 12s out there before the playoffs started. That's nice. But my point being, Sam, and maybe this is not their plan, but when I hear hedge in the wild card round, I'm like, are you nuts? Do you believe in your bet or not? Because now we're starting here. That means we're hedging divisional. That means we're hedging conference championship Sunday. And then we're hedging in the Super Bowl. Like, do you want to profit? I thought that was the whole idea here.
Well, people get hedge happy, and it's okay. I used to be in that bucket. I used to do that myself when I first started. I would just try and navigate a path where I could, make some money, even if it was a little bit of money. But yeah, if you've got a unit bet at 8 or 9-1, and you're already trying to get off of that in the divisional round, why would you make the bet to begin with? Personally, I won't hedge this until the Super Bowl if it gets there, because I'm not going to be in a spot where I feel comfortable doing that. Let's say Buffalo wins and New England wins. All right. Now the spread is basically a pick 'em again. So I'm not going to get this great money line price on the Patriots. It's not going to happen. If it's Buffalo, Houston, we're in the same conversation. I mean, you're never going to get a spot where you're going to get Buffalo as a 4 or 5 point favorite, and then you can take the points for a nice price, or you could take the dog on the money line. These are all going to be coin flips. So I'm not going to hedge a coin flip situation until I get to the final stage, until I have to face Bowser, right, at the end of Super Mario World. Like, you're not going to hedge, or I'm not going to hedge. If you want to do something AFC, fine. I mean, there are some people I know that have some 12 and some 14 and some 19-1. People were boosting it during the Jags game. I got a couple more texts about that. Like when Buffalo was down, Allen gets the ball, has to go down and score. Buffalo was 12, 14-1. And then if you had a proper account that had a boost in there, you could jack that up to almost 20-1. So if you got a 20-1 ticket for one unit and you want to take the other side money line in the AFC, if it happens, fine. But I'm not, until I get to the Super Bowl, I'm not even thinking about it.
I don't think we're going to be sitting here after the game and saying, like Liam Cohen, oh, what was Sean Payton thinking? Why didn't you run the ball against the Bills? I don't think there's a world where he goes pass happy and puts the entire game on Bo Nix in this specific matchup. Like Cohen, that's fair. That's fair, because the top two running backs only had 14 carries. They were killing it. The two of them on 14 carries went well over 100 yards. I don't think that's going to be a situation. Sean Payton's going to certainly test that run defense. So hoping for you that run defense stands out. Aside from teaser or anything, I'm not getting involved. Maybe there's a live opportunity. Like if you saw either team go up by double digits, I do disagree with Andy in that. I do think it's going to be a close game. And this is probably going to come down near to the end. So that's why we like the teaser if you're getting more than a touchdown. But as far as anything else, I'm not that interested unless we're talking about Broncos rushing props.
Okay. I'm not going to have a lot of bets this weekend. Not going to lie to you. I'll probably play some Buffalo straight, add a little bit more because I do like the matchup. I do like Allen against this team, and I think that they can beat him. I'll also be paying close attention to the status of Ed Oliver. If I can find out Thursday, Friday, you're going to be on WGR Thursday, I'll be on there Friday. That's my first question for the guys. Is Ed Oliver playing? If we can get a green light or close to a green light, I will then bet some more Buffalo. You want to go to Sunday?
Let's go to Sunday. Houston, New England.
New England. Go for it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Houston, New England, 3. It's a juice 3. So are we going to be 3.5 everywhere? That is to be determined. Not a lot of movement this week. Lowest total of all 4 games sitting at 41. Sam, you've got a couple of teams here matched up where we know the Texans are elite on the defensive side of the ball, and they eventually just squeezed the Steelers until there was nothing left, and then they just crushed them in that final quarter. That was a close game going into that final quarter, and then you kind of felt it coming, and it happened. They ended Rodgers' career, most likely. The Patriots, though, I mean, they were hammering the quarterback in their game, too. They had 11 quarterback hits against Herbert, and the Texans had 12 against Aaron Rodgers. So some impressive defensive performances from the 2 defenses here, and that's how you get the lowest total. What are you thinking going into this one?
Well, I was not impressed with Houston's offense. And obviously, New England has a lot more to like on that side of the ball. I mean, Aaron Rodgers was just dead man walking. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't run. This will be a step up for sure in competition for Drake May, but I do think New England can do more stylistically, creatively, with Josh McDaniels kind of maneuvering and shifting and putting people in the right positions. They've got the weapons down the field, and I love what they can do in this game with Hunter Henry. So that could be a guy that, wink, wink, I look at in the prop game for Sunday afternoon, 3:00 kick in Foxborough. As far as the weather, I didn't look at Foxborough. I guess I could try and pull that up real quick. I know in Boston proper, it's going to be 38 and there's a 75% chance of snow. So, the low is 26. You're going to get some flurries. And I guess while you're talking next, I'll pull up Foxborough. That was the one thing I meant to do on my walk to work, and I totally forgot about that. But, when you look at the total, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it opened right here in this column at 41. There was a little bit of a move downward, but it's kind of been bet back. So, you're at 40.5 at a couple books. Bet Online's 40.5. But a lot of these other books are still sitting 41. Like, there was that push back on 40.5 at a couple places. So 41 appears to be a good number. If the weather gets worse, of course, and the wind and the snow pick up, you're going to see that drop closer to kickoff. But I feel like this is a perfect line in this game, Joe.
Yeah.
I don't want to lay 3. I don't want to take 3, and I'm not going to bet the total.
Would you take 3.5?
I don't think so.
I hear you. I understand. Look, an elite offense against an elite defense. That's what the numbers are telling us. Forget the opponents at this point. The Patriots offense, number 1 EPA per play. Texans defense, number 1 EPA per play. EPA per pass. Patriots, number 1 on offense. Texans, number 1 on defense. What would concern me if I'm a Pats fan is May, and it's understandable because you have a young offensive line and a young quarterback here, but he's taken a decent amount of sacks this season. Like, the sack rate is a little bit too high, almost 8%. That's going to come down over his career. You saw it this year with Caleb, and it wasn't just Caleb. It was what the Bears did for that offensive line. We know the Texans get after the quarterback. So he's going to have to speed everything up much faster, play much faster than he did much of this year. If you look at the elite defenses that the Patriots played, like, okay, maybe Cleveland at the very end, but it was a sunk season at that point. I don't know if you want to put too much into that. So I do have my concerns. Perfect line, maybe, yeah, because of the home field, but 3.5, I would lean that way. But we've been hinting at it all show. I mean, Andy was basically saying the same thing. I got a message, I think it was on Twitter, in response to the divisional round. Yeah, it was when I posted the numbers, the opening lines, and one of the first replies I got was, Joe, what's the biggest mistake the books made? No, not divisional round weekend. Sam, you know this. So much football has been played. We know exactly what these teams are. We have so much data on these teams. Now, sure, one team can outperform what they've done much of the year, and one team can completely lay an egg. They're humans. That's going to happen. But as far as the betting market, where they are on these matchups going into the games this weekend, there's no huge edge. So you're not hearing about a lot of sharp money, right? And by the way, they got taken to the cleaners over the weekend. And, Andy was saying the same thing, and he does his numbers like, I don't know where the big edges are. They aren't there. So a lot of the smarter bettors might be dialing it back a little bit this weekend.
We'll see. As we tape this on a Wednesday night, not much yet. You're totally right. I think it's important to understand that what Vegas opened and what DK and FanDuel throw up before the rotation numbers is a lot different. Mm-hmm. Those first couple numbers, we saw Rams 4.5. I saw one book open 5. That was a mistake because as you look at that game, which we'll get to in a second, the number has come down quite a bit. But by the time we get to Saturday for the first 2 and Sunday for the second 2, these are going to be the tightest lines all year. And they only get tighter going into the conference round and going into the Super Bowl. There's not going to be these crazy line moves, Friday, Saturday, Sunday going into a playoff game for the most part. It's very rare, very unique where that happens. It's usually injury related. Oh, this quarterback is hurt. This pass rusher is hurt. This left tackle is hurt. Those things could swing a line, of course, a point or two, maybe. Now, if a quarterback's not going to play, if Josh Allen's not going to play, obviously Denver goes to a 6-point favorite or whatever. Actually, as I say that, probably more, considering it's Allen to Trubisky. That's probably a 7-point drop-off. But you're not going to see a ton of movement. It's hard to answer that question because I don't think you get a mistake in this round.
What do you think wins the game?
New England. I do. I think we get Buffalo, New England to go to the Super Bowl.
I was not impressed with Stroud the other night.
No, he sucked.
He was terrible. Okay, I'm not saying he's going to fumble the ball like he was. Like, that was insane. I was like, what is happening here? Is this one of those Pittsburgh occurrences that happens? And then game played out. We saw how it went the rest of the way. He was terrible. He's been bad for a long time now. And if he's the Stroud that we've seen for much of the season, probably not going to do enough. You can trust that Texans defense as much as you want, but I don't know that Stroud is going to be able to match Drake May. He'll probably get his. I mean, are the teams with the offensive edges going to win? I remove San Francisco from this conversation, and I don't really think there's a massive gap between San Francisco and Seattle offensively, but, Buffalo, that would be a win for the offense. If it's New England, that would be a win for the offense. It's going to be very interesting to look back and see what happens in the very end because it's been quite balanced. There are strong defenses still left, and there are strong offenses still left.
As for the weather, not really affected by the elements, I guess. So in Foxborough, which is, far south of Boston, very, very little chance of precipitation, 10% on Sunday. And the wind, the high is 10 miles an hour, gusts. So that's not Patriot weather, if you will. That's not, snowing sideways, 20-mile-an-hour winds, goalposts whipping around. That's relatively fair. The weather will be much worse, though, in our next game, as I'm sure you've heard about and as you've actually already talked about on the show.
Mm-hmm. Rams, the road favorite, -3.5, and the total has been dropping over the last few days. We are down to 49. It's brutal out there. Now, will that be the conditions that we're dealing with on Sunday night? Will the wind be whipping off the lakefront? Don't know. It's possible that this is going to fall into the bucket of one of the 10 coldest Bears games of all time since they've been tracking this. That's how brutal the conditions might be. And you're talking about a team that plays indoors, a team coming from LA. And there's been a lot of chatter early in the week talking about how Stafford really struggles in the cold. And, he played a lot of games in the cold. You probably want a larger sample size, but all those years in Detroit, they're playing indoors. He goes to LA, they're playing indoors, and he's going to be dealing with the elements. It looks like in this one, and the Bears offense was not impacted by the elements last week against Green Bay.
when you hear Andy, unprovoked, by the way, say that the Bears are the worst team left standing, what do you react to that with?
Do you agree with? I think it's really close with San Francisco and Chicago.
I mean, you have to really downgrade San Francisco's defense over the course of the season, but then you watch them play against the Eagles, and I know it's easy to say, oh, the Eagles offense is broken, but schematically, Saleh was ready for everything Jalen Hurts was ready for. So, coaching goes a long way in this league. If I looked at NFL numbers right here, let's see. In order, Kenny White's got Seattle 1, LA 2, Buffalo 3, San Fran 4 of the playoff teams. New England 5, Denver 6, Houston 7, Chicago 8. Those are the playoff teams in order per oddsmaker Kenny White. So he's got them 8th as well. I guess I hadn't really thought about it that way, but when you hear Andy talk, it kind of segues you into a numbers conversation. And yeah, Kenny says if Seattle and Chicago play on a neutral, he makes the game Seattle -8. So he would have Seattle as a substantial favorite over Chicago in Seattle.
Our listeners are smart enough. They understand it. When you see a lot of people that aren't in the gambling space that are covering the game, they're talking about the temps. I don't care about the temps. I don't. This is playoff lives on the line. They're going to be amped up. They're not even going to be feeling the temperatures. I mean, yes, they'll be by the heater. If given a heater option, I would be by the heater in these conditions, but I don't think the temps is it. This total is dropping because of the wind. They know that. And there are some reports saying that it could be 20 to 30 miles an hour. Now, last week, early in the week, they were saying the exact same thing. Was that the case during the game? No, it was not. You mentioned Edzo said he was going to wait. I have not done my total bet. I've been saying over throughout the week, but I am also going to wait for a couple of things. Will we get more clarity on the forecast, the condition? I want to see what it is when we wake up on Sunday. And as we get closer to game time, we'll get a more accurate report. And will this number continue to drop? If they continue to say that the winds will be picking up, I think it will continue to drop. So I think you will have a better chance at a lower number if you're in on the total. So my first thought is over. And again, don't think second half over is a bad idea. And that number's dropping as well with the full game total dropping. We know how the Bears have played in slow starts again for Caleb Williams and the Bears. They keep covering them in the second half. It's now 8 straight games. They've covered the line, and then they keep on going over. Flurry of points. It's not going to take much. We could have a low-scoring affair here, Sam, for 3 quarters, and then just an explosion of points in the final quarter. Between McVay and Ben Johnson, season on the line, what are our best plays? Assuming that happens, oh, man, it could be a crazy fourth quarter.
I didn't end up betting Chicago Green Bay last week. I did come in during the game at half and bet some second half over because I saw the number and I was like, yep, I'm in.
Crazy.
It was so low compared to where they have been because the Bears couldn't score. And then all of a sudden the Bears were going to score. As for the weather, last time we had a horrible -10, -20 degree, feels like -10, -20, whatever. Chicago had 31 points and had 361 yards of offense. Now, Shedeur Sanders could not move the ball, and he threw 3 picks, but Caleb was still whipping it through the wind, and he's got the arm that can do it. You also have a Rams running attack that's probably going to churn butter on the ground. So I know the over is popular, even though this opened 51 and now it's 48.5. I will be paying close attention. I would love a 47 or a 47.5 over. Like 48 would even make me excited. I'm not in a rush because I do feel like it's going to keep going down because we're going to hear nothing about the weather, or nothing but the weather rather, for the next 3 days or so. Parlay. What do you think of this one? Bills to win, Rams to win. You can get like 2.25 plus 225.
Yeah, I think both happen.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's not an easy call. But if you want to throw Seattle in there, you're not going to get much bang for your buck. You're not going to get a good
No.
number there. So I could certainly understand how you got there. Do you think the Rams cover?
It doesn't feel like it's going to be a game where the spread matters, at least where I'm sitting. The Rams either win by margin or the Bears win outright. I don't think the Rams are going to win by 3. I don't. Could be wrong here. I did just check the box. I added Seattle to LA and Buffalo. That made it plus 290. But I hate parlaying 3 playoff games together because it's so tough to win 1 game in the playoffs, let alone 3. I want no part of a 3-leg parlay with only 4 games on the card.
And these props are dropping. We mentioned the other day that Loveland goes from 40.5 to 58.5. The Loveland prop is down to 52.5 in the middle of the week. The weather reports are not impacting Puka. 98.5 is your prop for Puka Nacua.
And I did mention last week, I like his over. I like him to score a touchdown. That was against Carolina, though. Pretty nice elements. Not a lot of BS in the forecast. This is not going to be an easy game where you can move the ball. Now, these teams are still efficient enough to get over the total. You don't see a lot of these moves lose, though, man. 51 to 48.5. Like, usually those are true moves. But on the heels of Wise Guys getting crushed last week, I don't know. Maybe not.
You know which receiver in this game is used to dealing with the elements?
Who?
Devontae. Is he the move instead of Puka, where you don't have to deal with as much? Same number as Colston, 52.5 for Devontae Adams. And let's see, for a touchdown, best price you can get, Bet365 as a $1.20.
You're going to bet the over. I know it. You know it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Hold out for a 48. See what you can do.
Yep. And definitely the second half over. There's going to be a lot of talk about the under in this game. Go ahead. It won't be me. I don't care what the conditions are. I will not be on an under. Now we will see on the number for the over and the conditions and all that, but I'm not doing any sort of unders in this game. It could be a game where just everything goes bonkers. A 70-point game would not surprise me in the least. All right, Monday night. We plan on doing a show on Sunday night after the Bears-Rams game. Then we've got the Championship Sunday all set in the NFL. But we will also preview Indiana-Miami. But not everybody's going to be able to hear that. What do you make of the line move that we've seen so far in this matchup?
Before I even break that down, guess who's in for Friday? Our guy, Michael Felder.
Good.
He can do Friday. I think we're going to do, Joe and I have been talking about this behind the scenes. We wanted to do a deeper dive on just that game alone, and we can release it on Friday. Felder is in for Friday. So it'll be me, you, Felder for 25, 30 minutes. He's more of an X's and O's guy, of course. We're the numbers guys, but that'll be fun. And Michael also knows Ben Johnson pretty well. So we'll have that for you sometime Friday here on Chicken Dinner. I'm not really that surprised. Indiana has morphed into, and I talked about this, I don't remember if it was with you or with Bear Bets. They've morphed into 2019 LSU. There it is. I couldn't find it. It was like, where is it at? It's in my brain somewhere. Unleash, unlock, bang. People are just betting it. And that happened with LSU, with Burrow and Chase and Jefferson and Edwards-Hilaire and all those studs on defense. They got way too hot, and the market could never catch up, and they kept winning and blowing teams out. I'm having deja vu. I also, that year, I bet Clemson in the title game after betting LSU a ton, and then I flipped on LSU in the playoff. At the very end of the playoff, I flipped on them. And then I flipped on Indiana. We were on Indiana multiple times this year. And then I was like, oh, you know what? No, I'm going to bet Oregon because I'm fucking sharp. And, people have watched Indiana dominate. Alabama. Alabama couldn't even move the ball. And then they score 50 plus on Oregon. the public is on Indiana. You also have Wise Guys laying 7.5. So Wise Guys laid first. Public is still laying. We're at 9 at South Point. We're at 9 at Paradise. And here's where you're at with Wise Guys. This is my number one college guy. Here's what he said. I'm scared to even look at the game because I don't want to bet Miami. The Wise Guys are spooked. They're spooked. They don't want to bet against Indiana. He said this, Miami matches up better with Indiana than maybe anybody in the country. They're also bigger on the offensive and defensive lines. And then he wrapped up his thoughts with this. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I hope I can stay away from making a bet on Miami.
Uh-huh. You're going to stay away championship Monday. I get it. Lost a lot of money going against that team. So if Cristobal loses this game, they're supposed to lose, right? Let's say the market's right and loses by maybe 2 scores. Is he going to still have that stigma? Are we going to be sitting here next year and be like, well, I don't know. I can't bet Cristobal. I can't. All of this shit should be put to bed at this point, right?
Yeah. They're in the national championship.
It's got to be.
And they're going to get a quarterback in the portal.
He's going to recruit. And he's going to recruit.
Well, the skill positions are loaded because this receiver room is very young. The O-line, D-line will replenish. He's always done that. I mean, he was pulling guys to Oregon. So you think he can't get those Florida kids to stay home? He has been. And then they're going to make a move at quarterback again. You know, last year it was Cam Ward. This year it's Carson Beck. Next year it's blank. I would imagine they're going to be in the portal.
Mm-hmm.
That kid at Cal, JKS, the kid from Hawaii, like what if he ends up at Miami?
For sure.
It's going to change a lot. Because now you have a quarterback who's got a huge arm. Beck is a dink and dunker. Beck is not a take the cover off the top. This kid at Cal, the lefty, is unbelievable. So what if they get him? It's going to be an interesting conversation. Quick point also, Miami has been very good in the dog roll under Mario. The games where Miami struggles, right? The Friday night game against Virginia Tech when you're laying 17. The game you're a huge home favorite against Georgia Tech. Last week, you're dominating. You're dominating Ole Miss. You're laying 3.5. Ole Miss has a chance to win the game at the end. But remember, the first playoff game, Miami's a dog. They went outright. The second game, Miami's a 9, 8.5, 8-point dog against the mighty Ohio State. Miami wins outright. Then Miami becomes the favorite, and it's like, uh-oh. They're doing Miami things again. Now they're back to that dog roll where they're catching north of 7. And that's why the sharp guys are leaning that way. Again, a lot of them are hesitant, to say the least, but the numbers say Miami. The public's on Indiana. What happens?
Of course.
Who the hell knows? Who knows?
I think this is a pipe dream, but I'll tell you if you didn't catch it, what Horvy's hoping for. Does this get to 10? He thinks he's getting 10. So. I'm like, dude, you're not getting 10.
Doubtful.
10. Yeah. 8.5 most spots right now. But the world is going to be on Indiana. And there are a few select times where maybe the public will move it. I mean, the championship game may be possible, but yeah, I'm with you. I don't think you end up getting to that number. All right. I planned a trip post Super Bowl. Closer to now, you have a trip planned, right?
Well, it is a trip, yes. Definitionally, that's not a word, but I just made it one. I do have a trip. It's a 1-and-1. It's down in the morning. It's back at night. But I will be taking the train down next week to do Dan Patrick's gambling show. DP takes a gamble.
Okay.
And Shay and Irving is picking me up at the train station.
Oh, boy.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what day is this?
Next Thursday.
Okay, so we're going to have our show done at that point. We'll be done for the week. Thankfully.
I would think we'd be done. Yeah, we can do that Wednesday night, drop it Thursday morning. I'm getting on a train at 9 o'clock. I'm getting down to Connecticut at like 11:15. Shay said, pick you up. I'm like, all right, let's do it. And then I told them I have to be back at the train station by like 7:45 at night. So I'm going to be a maniac for 6 hours and then get on the train and go back home.
Pinky ring moon. So when are you going to be home?
It's like 10 o'clock at night, Thursday.
Okay. People know, like, they know our personalities. They know that you still live it up. Maybe not as much as you used to. Admittedly, it's difficult as you get older. How's your turnaround? Like, are the hangovers a little bit longer than it used to be, or are you still good to go like the next day?
No, I'm good. I do the water at night. Water at night is such a big deal. I think a lot of people decide, oh, well, I'm going to eat a bunch of greasy food and then just go right to bed. That's not the move. Now, if you're going to eat, you want to eat and then be up a couple more hours and then do the water. I'm drinking 3 of these. If I go out, I'm trying to drink at least 3 before I go to bed. And then there's that electrolyte gummy that we talked about in the past. It's called Flyby, FLYBY. I take 2 of those. I drink 3 of these bottles of water. I wake up ready to go to war the next day. And people are like, how? You're 35. You're 36 soon. How do you do it? Practice. Practice.
Repetition.
And preparation. But I assure you, I will be on this train next Thursday crunk, to say the least.
All right. I'm looking forward to it. I did want to bring up one of the YouTube comments that made me laugh, because just based on knowing you, I think you were kind of annoyed. Someone begged you to make the AI images stop.
What? Yeah. What was up with that? I don't understand.
Know. And then you asked, and there was no follow-up. They just don't like the AI images.
So that person has made a comment about our YouTube thumbnails multiple times.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And I saw it the first time, didn't think anything of it.
It's trolling.
Saw it another time, and then saw it a third time. And I'm like, we don't have enough time. YouTube itself is a full-time job. I don't have an hour to sit on Photoshop and make a thumbnail from scratch. I don't.
Yeah.
So I apologize to the one person that hates our AI thumbnails, but those are not going anywhere. In fact, when we get off here and I get ready to walk back to my hotel, we're doing bear bets tomorrow, I will be having ChatGPT make a thumbnail of you, me, and Andy, probably in recliners watching football. That will happen when we hang up here.
Good. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, for taking you people behind the scenes, Sam handles the video and I handle the audio, and I probably spend more time on it than I should, unlike our old stop. Like, they didn't really edit it down. Like, we try to clean things up. We take pride in our work. And it's just the two of us doing everything right now. It is amazing. Like, you would think, oh man, you guys are just like chilling. Like, we appreciate all the shows that you're putting out, but it's nowhere near as much as you used to do. No, I mean, I think we're working a lot harder. It's just different work. We're doing other people's jobs that we used to have people that would do that, like the social media and the editing and the posting, like all that sort of stuff. Feels like we're going back in time to when we were starting in the business.
We're talking less and working more, but that's okay. Yeah. We are now YouTube partners, potentially. I see that our downloads on the podcast, I have Transistor up right here. We are going to probably double our all-time high for a month in downloads. So we're going to we've already shattered the high this month of all the months on Transistor. The other month that was really big for some reason was October of 22.
Yep.
And we are going to double that this month. YouTube is up to the moon. They're already asking us to do some more stuff with them. So I'm very proud. I'm very happy, but we are not satisfied because, again, we were told that our show wasn't good enough. we are out to prove you wrong. No, I mean, that's all it has to be. It doesn't have to be, targeted or name names or whatever. We just take this seriously and we will continue to do so.
Yeah. And there are also a lot of lies out there about how things went down. Not that it matters.
Oh, yeah, I know. There's so many things I want to say. There's so much to say, but it's not the time yet.
Can we? Yeah, you're right. It's not the time yet, but Like, why do we have to keep doing this? Why does it have to be in our face still? Like, that's a lie. That didn't happen.
Yeah,
okay.
well, that's what. Never mind. I almost said
Yeah.
it. I'm not going to say it. And I know your severance is a lot longer than mine. So let's get you home there, and then we can have like a whiskey episode in July of 26.
Jenks, Chelsea, Horvey
in the garage.
In the garage, exactly. All right. Anything else? Did we touch on it all? Let me mention our friends over at Splash Sports, our first sponsor. So I want to give them a little bit of love. If you have not entered the golf contest and you're listening to this before noon Eastern on Thursday, $1 million contest, one and done. Sam, I don't know if you've ever done those, but even if it's a little bit hefty, it is a $250 entry fee. It is something that's pretty cool because one and done, you're picking a golfer every week. So when you do this, you're invested for the entire golf season. And even if you have a shitty start, you can come back later on and win a different segment throughout the year. So that's fun. It keeps you invested throughout the entire golf year. And then they also have quick picks, prop bets, more or less yards. Check it out. If you use the promo code DINNER, so if you go on there, if you're a new user, you get a $50 deposit match, supporting the show, supporting our sponsor, winners all around. A 100% profit boost if it's your first quick pick slip. So check out what they're offering. Splashsports.com, the promo code DINNER. Sam, last word. What do you have heading into the divisional round?
Let's go, Bills.